slouchy.
Welcome to E.G. and Friends. My name is Elden Killian. I'll be your host today. I am joined by
LaNae Grigg, Elden's sister. Older sister.
much older sister.
Older, but youngest. So.
Yes. Yes, my youngest sister, who is very old. Today, we are going to be talking about games that I played 20 times. And the game that we're talking about today is Azul. Anyway, before we move on, let's talk a little bit about you.
What about me?
What makes you special?
Let's see. I'm 47, nearly 48, so I'm not that old. I'm not 50 yet. Let's see.
Unlike other
What
siblings.
about me? I used to like math, and then it got too hard. I'm a newly Marine mom. My oldest son just became a Marine.
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
He's working hard, and we miss him, but are very proud of him.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Our superintendent in the school district I work in is a Marine, ex-Marine. He actually,
They're not ex-Marines.
Whatever.
They're always Marines.
He doesn't get paid by the U.S. forces anymore. Yeah. Anyway, but he's actually leaving us this month. He got a new job in California. He's moving.
Oh, bummer.
Anyway, but I really liked him, so Marines make good people, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so what's your what's your gaming pedigree? What is your relationship with games? Since we're talking about a board game today.
I like games, but my favorite kind of games are usually not that much strategy based. Like the Yahtzee, the Rummy Cube, like we grew up playing Life, which is, not much strategy. It's the luck of Life, Monopoly, which I kind of hated, but I would play because, brothers and sisters wanted to play. Othello was big. We grew up in Othello. That one I really liked. Yeah. So I like a more simple game that can be done.
What are your feelings on like chess and checkers and?
That's kind of boring. Chess I never got into.
Yeah.
It seems way too much brain power for me. For a game. Sure. I learned how to play it, just how things moved, no strategy whatsoever. Only played it a handful of times. So
okay.
Not my bag.
Have you ever played Catan?
Yes, 3 times, exactly.
Exactly 3 times?
Yes.
And you'll never do it again? Or
I won't say never.
Okay.
But I'm sure it's one of those, if you play more, like 10 times, you might be like, all right,
yeah,
I get it. Because it was just too much trying to remember. Yeah. There's too many facets of it to make it fun first couple times.
Yeah. I've pushed some games on you. Like, I know we've played, like, Railways of the World, which is kind of a heavier game.
Yeah, and I didn't mind that.
Yeah?
I mean, like, there's a
fly.
Anyway, and I had fun, and I think because there wasn't little kids around or anything, like, I think sometimes, heavy strategy games, if you're distracted, it's like...
it's not so fun.
I kind of like games that you don't really have to pay attention in between turns. So
you're a social gamer.
Yeah, definitely.
You like to socialize while you're gaming.
Yeah.
Last night we played Roll and Rate.
Yes.
How did you like that?
It was a little late for that. My brain was a little...
Okay.
And I think if I played it again, I would enjoy it more. I just kind of... There was too many things that I'm like, I don't know what I should be paying attention to. But now I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like it could be a fun game.
How often do you play games like you and your husband? Or family members? Your family at home? We
kind of go in spurts. Like, after Rowan was born, we played Scrabble every night.
Okay.
For a couple months, And I won probably exactly one time. Stacy beats me every time. I was having a really good game. I got a bingo, 50 points extra.
Uh-huh.
I think the next turn or the turn after, Stacy got a bingo and beat me. So, rude. But I like Scrabble. I mean, Speed Scrabble as a family. We'd have tournaments. That was super fun.
Yeah.
So those are the fast games I like.
Is your name on the belt?
No. I've never...
I say that like I didn't know.
I don't think I've ever made it to the championship round. Maybe once. I think the first...
Your family has been repped though.
Stacy has won at least 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Controversial, lost the first year.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I might have Stacy now. We can talk about that. Have Stacy and Lauren have a mediation.
But we play Rummy Cube a lot. These are the games we're playing now.
Yeah.
We play Rummy Cube because the kids will actually play with us.
Okay.
And Quirkle. Those are the 2 like family ones we play. Azul sometimes they'll play.
Which is the game we're talking about
yes,
today.
Those are the 3 upstairs games that are just there. Anyway, I think that's about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. So we're talking about Azul. So it's designed by Michael Kiesling. That probably doesn't mean anything to you.
Mm-hmm.
People in the hobby world, like Michael Kiesling's a name.
Okay.
He has a design partner, Wolfgang Kramer, and they have a bunch of games that are very highly regarded and have won lots of awards. But this was a solo design of his, and but is published in 2017. Plan B Next Move Games. This might have been Plan B's first game, but Plan B has like a whole. It was a kind of a big hobby game company, and the owner sold it, and then she started this new Plan B, and this was sort of like the big thing that came out of it. And right away, this game, everyone loved it. It's ranked number 51 out of 20,000-ish ranked games on Board Game Geek, which
that's impressive.
So it's top 50 game, and I think it was ranked a little bit higher. I think it slipped just recently, like some things have leapfrogged it. But yeah, like I said, very well regarded. People like the game. It's rated a 7.8. I don't know the highest rated game of like games that have been rated a lot. It's probably like an 8.1 or whatever. So you know, it's hard to get above that. And then it's on a 10-point scale, but 8 something is probably the highest like any like game gets. But and I personally rank it when I did my ranked all the games that I played up to October 2020. I ranked it number 38 on my personal list. So,
out of like 600, right? Or
yeah, like 670-ish games, something like that. Where
cool.
would you put this on your all-time list of games if you were just gonna choose random?
Top 10.
Top 10?
Sure.
You like it? Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, I mean really.
Yeah.
Really, I like it a lot.
And we'll get to that. And I have played the Azul, regular Azul, 35 times is what I have recorded. I have other games I play a lot more, but this one comes out fairly often, so I think 35 times is
like when I come visit.
obviously more than 20 times, because it's in this series of games. But anyway, so that's the game. It has won, like I said, all the awards. They might have even made up awards just to give it. The big one is it's won the Spiel des Jahres, which is the German Game of the Year. And that's sort of like the award you want to get for your game. So it was the best game of 2018, or the 2018 award. They have a weird it has to come out in Germany, and the years are kind of, it's like not by published date, like they kind of put it where they want it. So it won the 2018 award. It won the Board Game Geek Golden Geek Best Family Game in 2017. It won the Gold Bricken, which is I think Netherlands or something like that. Won the Origins Award, which is American Best Family Game. Won the Deutscher Spielpreis 2018, which I think is the best game at the Essen Spiel. I think that's what that award is. I'm not 100% sure. And like it won a Mensa Select Award, and then I ran out of space on my slideshow. Okay. A bunch of other ones. Meeple Choice. And is nominated. If it didn't win, it was nominated for every award you can imagine. The awards list is forever long. Okay. So, like I said, it's so critically appraised. The general public loves it. Everyone likes the game. It's a very well liked game. So how does the game play? So my little flow chart that I created here was there's a bunch of things out on the board. You take everything of a color off of a location, and then any leftovers go to the middle unless you're taking from the middle and they stay there. Then you're going to place them to a row. If you have extra ones, they drop to the floor, and then you just keep doing that until they're all gone. At the end of the round, you fill in your display if you completed a row. Sound legit?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody watching, that's kind of how the game works. We'll see some pictures later. But my first question about the game is, do you remember the first time you played it?
I played it with you, of course.
Okay.
And probably at Mom and Dad's house.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And I think the first thing I noticed is I really thought it was a pretty game.
Yeah.
Like, it's visually stunning to me.
Yeah.
And the little game pieces look like starbursts.
Uh-huh.
And they're nice to handle. Like, I don't know. Aesthetically and, like, physically, touch, whatever, it's a good game. And it feels well made. Like, not, some games are really cheap and not, you feel like, that could fall apart really easily.
And this publisher, Plan B, I think that their goal is it's got to be, all their games look really nice. They're all high super quality. I love those pieces, the tactile feel of picking up the pieces and moving around.
Smooth.
Clacking them or whatever. Just a great presentation, for sure. My first time playing, I know I played it before. I want to say it was at my friend Tim's house. Someone had scored a copy, and a pretty early copy, and brought it, and I played it a couple times. And that's one nice thing about the game. It plays pretty quick, and it's one of those games where you can play, set it up, play again.
Yeah.
Super fast.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy games like that. I like being able to play through it really quick, and then come right back and try it. Oh, because you learn something, right? Especially the first time you play, you learn something. All right, I'm gonna try this again.
Yeah.
And I really like games like that. From the get-go, I really like this game. I eventually got my own copy. I know I played it at Board Game Geek Con Spring Convention when it was on the Spiel des Jahres table. Played it a handful of times there. And like I said, I just keep playing it. It's one of those games I bring out a lot. Especially with people like you who like games, but maybe not in my wheelhouse of all my hundreds of games that take 3 hours to play or whatever.
Yeah. I'm like a 30-minute hour kind of a...
Yeah.
But I can play multiple times. It might be more than an hour, but for the whole...
Yeah. Right.
From start to finish,
So you actually went out and bought your own copy of this after you played with me.
Yes.
So I always find that high praise. And so what took you back to the game? What was the thing that...
I think ease of learn, but then, you play it enough times, you're like, oh, there is some strategy to get more points.
For sure.
And I think it was like, hey, I think our kids would play with us for that, because our kids are pretty isolated kind of kids, and so anything that is like, oh, they won't hate this, maybe they'll play with us, once or twice a month or whatever, And
your husband liked it?
And he did like it, and that's the other thing. Stacy doesn't like to learn games, and so if it's something he can pick up quickly, that's a plus.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
He doesn't want to hear the rules, like just start playing. So if it's something you can catch on fast, that's a winner in his book. So
and you probably can, like after like 2 or 3 times around the table, you've got the gist of the game, and after that first round of putting stuff over, you kind of get the scoring, and you can just roll, right?
Yeah. So ease of learn, and then he figured out strategies, because at first I was beating him, and then he learned some things. I'm like, oh, all right, I guess this isn't my game anymore, which is fine. I like it to be slightly competitive.
Yeah.
I like a competitive game, but then as soon as it's over, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, there's no flipping over tables, it's for fun for me, but I don't want cheaters, and I don't want people to not play.
Yeah. There's a great quote that one of the board game designer, I always butcher the way that he says it, but it's like, the goal is to win, but the important thing is the goal, not the winning.
Yeah.
And Pat Summit, who's old Tennessee Volunteer women's basketball coach, I've seen this quote go on the rounds on Facebook recently, and she said something really similar. It's like, the goal is the point, like doing your best is the point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doing better every time is the point. Like it's not the winning.
Yeah.
Like the winning's the bonus. It feels good to win, but it's not the point of what you're doing.
Like if you feel good about how you played and that you weren't just slacking. Because I used to play volleyball and we didn't really win that much, but there was definitely games that you're like, oh, everyone's trying hard.
Yeah.
And when people weren't trying hard, it wasn't that fun.
Yeah, it's just any activity, especially a competitive activity, where once somebody is not trying their best, it just ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, especially if it's a team thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like, come on, guys. Yeah. And not that I'm a good sportsman, not at all. But you can tell, even if you're not playing awesome, but if you're trying your best, So I like to play with people that are invested in it and competitive, but not crazy. Like I said, once the game's over, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
so what takes me back to Azul is a lot of so like I said, I have all these games and I have people who will play these like really heavy games with me, but I really enjoy playing games in general. And so this is a game that I can bring out with a lot of family members. I can bring it out if I'm in a new group of people and I don't know where their level is at. Like this is a great game. Anyone can play it. Super easy to learn. The only thing I wish I played more than 4 players. That's one big limitation I don't love about the game.
Because we have, if everyone's home, there's 7 of us.
Yeah.
And and before it was just 5 of us when Killian was still there, and so one person was like, "Oh, I don't want to play," and you kind of like, "Well, I want everyone to play." So that is probably the biggest.
That's probably the big limitation, but it works in so many different situations for me, and I enjoy it. Like, it's fun.
It's a fun game.
Like I can bring out lots of games that other people like just recently. I was playing that Play 9 golf game. Did you play
that? That's fun.
I hate that game. And I'll play it with other people because they want to play it, and it's really fun. But it's not fun for me, and so I would never. In fact, I used to have that game. In fact, I think the one that Laura has is I gave it away after I'd had it for a couple years, and I knew I wasn't ever going to play it. Anyway,
that's not like high on my list, but it is a social game, so that's and you can have a big
group,
and it moves fast.
It is. It's a really good social game. So I'll sit down and play with everybody. We'll sit and talk. We'll have fun. But like, I'm not like the game is not engaging to me at all, and I don't have fun playing it. I have fun sitting at the table.
Sure.
And I even hate saying this because people will hear me say this. There's lots of reasons why I'll sit down and play a game.
Yeah. And
they're not. But like that game is not the thing bringing me to the table. It's the people at the table.
Sure.
Let's move on to our next topic: expansions and variants. I don't know if I ever played any variants of the game. There is an expansion that's called the Crystal Mosaic that has some different boards. I've never played that.
Okay.
But variants, there are 2 other versions of the game: the Stained Glass of Sintra and Summer Pavilion. And I believe you have played both of those?
I have. We have the Summer Pavilion, and I want to get the Stained Glass one.
Okay. And and I have all 3 of them, and I've played each of them. Stained Glass of Sintra, I think yesterday when we played it together was my 10th play. So I played it, 10-ish times. And then I think the only reason I haven't played that one more is just it is a little more difficult. And so I'm introducing the game. I'm going to go to the original for the most part. And then Summer Pavilion, which is probably my favorite. I probably played the least. I don't think I have 10 plays of it yet, but I do enjoy it the most.
It has, I think, the most amount of strategy, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's pretty too. Like, kinda, and it's fun. Stacy likes that one.
Yeah.
We play a lot of games, just 2 of us.
Okay.
And it gets a little more personal. And so when I play, I don't really pay attention to what he does.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm squashing him, if that makes sense. Like, I just play my game.
Right.
And so it's not vindictive when I take something and like oh, I did this, so he gets stuck with 10 things.
Yeah.
I just play my board, and if it ends up screwing him over, that's too bad.
Yeah.
So it takes away the, like, because I will, I'm a kind person, and I don't know, like, I don't...
You don't get joy out of hurting other people.
Yeah, like, plain sorry, like, I don't, I'm gonna get you and send you back. Like, that's not... Yeah. I just like to play, but I want to play well, but I also don't want it to be a personal, like, dig, I guess. So when you play two people, it's more that way. And so I actually do like to play with 4 people, because it is a little less...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you find the gameplay's all... you're mentioning that as, like, like the feel of the game is different, 2-player versus, like, a 4 or 3-player
Definitely.
Yeah. The one thing with, like, 2 players, it's a lot easier to, like, look ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, you kind of plan what you're going to do, or, and you get screwed sometimes.
Well, because you can look in the board. I mean, I do look on the board.
In a 4-player game, even if you're paying attention, the likelihood that your plan comes together is
by the time it comes around.
It's low.
It's like, oh, I have 10 of those. I only need 2.
Yeah. But there's a fair amount of looking. Of the 3 versions, the original and the 2 other ones, which do you think you like the best?
I mean, I've only played the stained glass one. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, stained glass of Sintra.
Only with you.
Okay.
Probably 4 times.
Yeah.
Maybe 5.
Times, something like that.
I like it, and I think because I haven't played it a lot, it's like I want to play it more to maybe learn how to play it better. But I do enjoy it, and I think because there is a lot of variance to it.
I like how, like, the basics of the game, like, they're both the same thing. You're taking everything of a color and leaving the rest and putting it in the middle. That is all the same.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is totally different.
Yeah.
Like, the way you're scoring, the way you're placing them is totally different. And I really like... The one thing I like about the stained glass game is that ability to pass.
Yes, because the others you can't.
And the strategy of when to pass and kind of set yourself up, to avoid taking those big nasty things. And sometimes you can wiggle out of situations or getting that timing down right. Like yesterday in one of the games that we played, I didn't feel like my timing was great, and I finished a round, and then my next round I was first player, but my first move had to be passed because I didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
And that was really poor playing on my part, but it's interesting.
Yeah, and then Summer Pavilion, it just takes it one more step, because you take your things, and then you place them in turn, and then you can get more,
right?
Depending on if you earn extra things. So it's a little harder to plan, but you need the strategy so you can get the bonus points at the end. Like that one, it is a little more involved, but not so complicated that you don't want to play it. Yeah. Like Stacy likes it.
And it still moves really fast. Like,
it does, yeah.
And like I said, the basics of the game is like you understand the basics of the game. You take this thing and that's it. Like that mental load of, okay, how do I take my turn is gone because you have experience on it.
I think Summer Pavilion probably has no strategy and more ways to screw up, man.
Yeah.
You can, at the end, if you can get stuck with some stuff, and it counts against you. So
for sure. I don't know. I think we played out that conversation. Yeah. So what's the fun stuff? We've kind of talked about this, but what are the things about the game that are most fun to you?
Just seeing if you can, like Summer Pavilion, finish that little circle, which I hardly ever finish one.
Yeah.
But you are rewarded if you get 1 through 4, whatever. So I think it's fun to just try to, to accomplish, the task or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. It's just, it's a good game.
For me, the puzzle is the fun part.
Yeah.
Trying to get that mental puzzle, trying to get those pieces in the right order, especially going back to like the original game. It's like, okay, I need to get these stacked in the right order. I need to get this. I hate when I don't finish something in a round, and it just kind of messes up my whole plan.
And then that's hanging out, and then
just creating problems.
Yeah.
I remember one time I got stuck in a situation where I think I only finished like the 1 and the 2, and I had tiles on all of the other ones. Oh no. And like not even just like 1 or 2, like they were almost full on all of them. That next round is like you can't take tiles. Like, so I'm like trying to onesie everything. Like I never want to take more than 1 tile.
Yeah.
And that was weird and hard.
You can get
really hurt, you know.
Yeah, if you don't have very many to fill in, it's
it's tough.
Especially if it's just 2 of you playing.
But that puzzle was fun. It was fun trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. Just finishing your little circles or square, like there's satisfaction in it. And it's, I don't know, like I keep on saying, it's a pretty board. Like, when you finish things off, you've got these mosaics, and they're nice to look at. I don't know.
And what's the not so fun stuff?
Like when you get stuck with, like yesterday, it comes around and there's 7 of something and you only need 2.
Yeah.
And that one you get dinged
hard,
man.
Yeah. That one game you lost for sure. Yeah, you took all those.
I had -18 and I was doing pretty well.
Up to then, yeah.
And then it was just like, dang.
You took
one turn
you took a bunch
just,
of negatives.
You can just lose in 1 turn. So that's the not fun part. But,
it was fun for me.
But generally, generally, whatever. It's just a game. Right. At the end of the day, it's just a game. Whatever. Yeah. Like I said, as soon as it's over, it's like, oh, okay. And then I'll be like, hey, let's play again. Like, I think it has that, instead of like, I never want to play that again. It's kind of like, oh, it's a challenge. Like, oh, can I do better next time?
Yeah. So for me, the one thing I don't like in most of the versions, and like the one expansion which I don't have fixes that, is like the score track. It's very easy to bump that.
Yeah.
It's very easy. The score track and on the other ones is like you're keeping track of like your negatives on that little track, and any little bump, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, where was that? So I think I really do need to pick up that overlay.
I would be interested in that.
Would fix that, and that is my biggest attraction in the game. I feel like that was not even designed well. Like that should have been something that they
from the get-go
fixed. And or like a different score track, so there was like so if you're on the same score in like the second one, because you're scoring all on the same board, everybody, like if there's 2 people with the same score, like you have to stack them up, and like there's these little tiny squares that barely fit the cube that you're using. I don't know. That's the one thing. It's like they did really good up the game, and that graphic design and that planning they didn't do right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a pretty nitpicky.
Yeah. It doesn't make you not want to play the game.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts before we go?
It's a great game. I mean, I'm glad you introduced it because, like I said, it's a game upstairs that we can pull out, and it only takes a half hour or whatever, and the kids will play with us if we twist the arm. And
have you ever introduced this to like a friend or something? I know the last year has been super weird.
No, but I mean, family. We've kind of got Shanna's family likes it, and anyway. I mean, I'm not opposed to, hey, you want to learn this, but
like your situation is like, I always like it. Like I introduced this game to you, and then you went out and bought it. Like, like, okay, I did the right thing. I brought the right game. I did this right.
And so I think it is a nice game. If you do have a group of people over, it's not super complicated, and But yeah, it would be nice if you could play 6 people. That would be nice.
And I wonder how it would play. Maybe it wouldn't play as well. Maybe it would be terrible.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
Maybe just get 2 and then
get 2 copies. Yeah.
And then just play tandem.
So one of my favorite games, Dominion. You can the second expansion came with all enough cards, so you can combine them together and play with like up to 8 people or 6 people or something like that. But in the rulebook it says we don't recommend this. Just go ahead and play 2 tables.
Yeah.
Because you can,
I could see where I think up to 6 it would probably be fine. But most games are like that.
It gets more chaotic, just like with 2 players, it's fine. And with more players, it just, like, the planning gets more chaotic, and it becomes less strategic, and it's more like, okay, what's my presentation here?
Yeah.
And you just kind of be more tactical than strategic. It probably changes the game. But it's such a good game, I wish I could sit with more people with it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so Azul, high recommendation for me, I think, LaNae.
Yes.
I
would play if you came over.
And I played this game more than 20 times because it is an excellent game. There's lots of reasons why I play games. But this one is because it's really good and it fits lots of situations, and it's a great game. But anyway, that is our show for today. I will see you later. I need to come up with a tagline.
Where? I'm making a YouTube video, Bev.